Hey everybody, welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. YES. Yes? Chris, you're catching me within 3 hours of waking up. And I think you can notice my mood.
Yeah, you're pretty.
It's not to the point where it is usually.
I know.
Most times we talk, so I'm not going to apologize for that, but I'm just going to explain so you understand.
Okay. Well, you're making me do your job, and I just made that sound, and my wife busted in. She thought I had a heart attack or something. She busted in. She's like, "What?" And she heard the strange noise coming from the office. She busted in like, "Oh my gosh, he died. He fell. He finally croaked. He broke his leg."
Chris, I don't know if it's the 3.5 hour mark. It'll probably happen during the show. It might, probably has something to do with the number of cups of coffee I've had. I've had one. This is two.
Okay.
Just starting two.
Okay.
But I'm not a mean guy.
No.
I'm not a bad guy.
No, absolutely not.
I'm a little different. I think it has to do with the coffee after I've had my drug to the point that I need it and it's hit my bloodstream. And right now I'm just on number 2 getting into it. And I might break during the show to go get number 3.
Oh, wow.
Because the show might need it. So how's this for an intro?
I'm
not your clown.
That's literally the reason I decided never to drink coffee, because I didn't like how it changed people. I was like, I'm not going to be the guy that my personality changes based on how much substance I consume. So I just don't drink coffee, and I never have. I hate it. I never drank it.
Speaking frankly, I'm very much about that kind of lifestyle as well.
Yeah.
I'm not into those things, but coffee is my one thing.
That's gold. Hey, I'm going to get off my high horse here. I have my own thing, right? It just doesn't have to be goldfish. If I haven't had something to eat, or
your thing is not, well, that makes you a certain kind of way, just kind of passive and kind of like a pillowcase with no pillow inside of it.
Oh gosh,
that's what you're like when you don't have enough calories.
Yeah. I don't know.
You volunteer for this?
Yeah.
Session, Chris?
Yeah.
Where you just get beat down? No,
it's fine. I enjoy it.
But honestly, monitoring you and looking at you and observing you, you could call it CrossFit, you could call it exercise, but whatever it is, man, you need that. Let me just tell you that, because I've seen you without it for certain periods.
You saw me last year.
Yeah, that's your thing. That's definitely your thing. Yeah, it's not a. People need to stop playing games with fitness. They need to allow people to do that, because that is, for some people, that's extremely necessary.
You're very true. You've seen me, and I was reading some reviews, and it was a year ago. I was reading some reviews on, I found some people talking about us on Reddit and like Twitter and stuff like that.
Chris, what are you doing?
I know. I'm just looking. I'm just curious. And then people were like, yeah, lately, this was a year ago. They had posted like, lately the shows have gotten really kind of bland and boring. And I was just like, you guys don't know what was going on in my life. Of course they're bland. I was drinking. I remember at one point, I think I'd pour myself what was it? There it is. It's my Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. I just poured myself whiskey because I'm like, I'm going to get through this.
Give me, all right, now that we're opening it up here, give me a little insight. And my coffee, it's hitting me and it feels really good, Chris. And you don't know this feeling, but sometimes when you have a hot coffee, for me, it hits in the back of the neck.
Really?
Ooh,
wow.
Yeah.
I can see you waking up.
Yeah.
Like you have color again.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
It's amazing.
Chris, just because we're among friends here, during that time period, what was the earliest part of the day that you had your first sip? Not every day, but just on the day, one day had to be the earliest. What was the earliest time?
When we started recording, so probably 12:30 in the afternoon.
I like
something like that. Yeah, because we start recording around 1, and I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. I'm tired. I hate everything. I was just mad. I hadn't had my testosterone boost.
Your outlet.
I hadn't lifted anything.
And your boost, yeah.
Yeah, so I was I just started pouring myself a drink, and then I was like, all right, let's go. So, yeah.
You know, Chris, yesterday or 2 days ago, I was shooting hoops for like a good hour. And even in part of that hour, I was doing little 5-minute jogs. And then at the end of that hour, I was thinking so clearly.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I was like, this is an elevated mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
I should do this often.
Yep.
So it is a very powerful thing. And I'm glad we made it through the last year here. So, Chris, we're going to be talking about smart campaigns today. We also have a couple interesting news items. And so we got a packed show. So with that said, let's get into
it. Yep. I want to tell you guys about Opteo, opteo.com/PSP2 to get a free trial for 8 weeks to try this tool for yourself. Now, the thing about it is there's a lot of tools out there, and you've probably tried a lot, and it's painful to go through all these different tools. But if you're a freelancer, if you're working at an agency, if you're a business owner, you're going to do yourself a favor by trying Opteo and giving it a chance. And this is your one opportunity to try it for a 2-month period, an 8-week period. And it's great because it gives you such a solid understanding of what the tool is and what it's not. And the fact is, you're going to like what it is because it's designed for people just like you. It's going to make your job easier. It's going to tell you things that you forgot to do. It's going to show you data in ways you hadn't seen before. It's going to be your safety net to your Google Ads campaigns. That's what I like to think of it as. You're going to like it. So be sure and try it out. opteo.com/PSP2 for an 8-week free trial.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So we got some, we're going to be talking smart campaigns, and that's a very interesting thing. I don't think I've ever said the word smart campaigns more than one time over hundreds of episodes. So it's going to be interesting to get into that, and I've got a lot of questions and pick your brain about that. Before that, Chris, I gathered some very interesting news for the week. It has the word recommendations and auto applied in it.
Oh, goody.
But calm down, but calm down. It's actually one of those things where at first you're like, I don't know about this, but then you're going to find some interesting things. And while I'm reading this, I want you to pull up a Google Ads account and go to the recommendations section. So we're going to link to this Search Engine Land article, Google Ads rolling out auto applied recommendations. And basically it just it shares a Google announcement that they have a new beta inside of the recommendations area in Google Ads called Auto Apply. So, Chris, I want you to go to your recommendations. In the upper right corner, do you see the little Auto Apply with a green beta?
I do.
Sign on it.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead and click on that. And what you can do if you want to, or first thing to note is now you're in an Auto Apply section. Note the tabs at the top. You have a manage area and you have a history. So if you happen to turn on auto apply, you can review what changes were done in the history. So that's something to watch out for and know. Another thing to know with this auto apply recommendations, it is an opt-in. You have to opt in, which I think you can appreciate.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't just do this to you. You have to say, this is what I want you to do. So you have to opt in if you want it. And the other interesting thing for everyone out there, when you're looking at your recommendations auto apply page, they break it down by the bidding and budget section, keywords and targeting, ads and extensions. Those 3 sections. And then within those sections, you can select individual recommendations to auto apply. So for example, in bidding and budgets, if you get a recommendation that you can bid more efficiently with target CPA, you can check that one single option, and anytime they recommend that, they'll auto apply it. But if you don't want it, you don't have to check it. And then they have different bidding and budget options there. You can auto apply if you want. The reason I said you might like this, Chris, is because in the keywords and targeting section, they have some options that you might like to have auto applied, like remove redundant keywords. That's a suggestion that sometimes I do enjoy using. and I might want to auto apply that. And that's one of those things. If some of those keywords really aren't getting you any traffic and you want to clean up your account, and some people have really, really extensive campaigns and keyword lists that are just making things cluttered, you could turn on remove redundant keywords, auto apply, and I wouldn't be too worried about that. Another one, if you like the Google Search Partners Network and you want that always on, you can just check that on. And if someone happens to turn it off on a campaign or forget to turn it on, it'll auto apply that. And then conflicting negative keywords, if you're confident none of your keywords that you're targeting would be anything you want to block, you can put the auto suggestion for remove conflicting negative keywords and then not run into that. So it's interesting. It's an opt-in. And I think this is a fair kind of balance of things. If people want this, they can opt in. If you want part of it, you can only take part of it. And initially, when I saw those words, auto apply suggestions or recommendations, I was a little nervous. But now that I see it's an opt-in and you have your option, if you do want to opt in for very specific things, I think it's a pretty cool feature.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think anything where they give us options, more options are fine, without forcing us to follow specific recommendations, forcing us, automatically changing things for us. Like, well, we could go back 2019, 2020, all kinds of things, types of examples that we didn't like. But this is, it's fine with me. I like it.
And Chris, on your history page, it'll give you the recommendation that happened, that auto-applied. It'll give you the category that recommendation is from. It'll give you how many applies that happened, how many happened in the last 7 days, and when the most recent one happened, and also when you opted in. So you can kind of keep track of when you opted in, when they made these auto-applies, and track the performance.
Yeah. And by the way, if you don't see the auto apply beta button in your recommendations tab, be sure you're on all campaigns. You have to be viewing all campaigns in order to see that. You can't be inside of one campaign. It's an account level option.
Oh, good point. So Chris, speaking of auto applying, speaking of not stepping on my segues.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Coffee's hit.
I know.
Why would I
You're
be
fun
mad?
now. You're a fun boy.
Chris, speaking of auto applies, we're going to take this to the most extreme auto apply level possible.
Yep.
And talk about smart campaigns. So Chris, smart campaigns, who are you? Who did you become? Did you just have to do CrossFit for 8 hours a day and didn't have time? So you needed a smart campaign? Why is this on your mind? What's going on here? I've never seen this side of you.
Yeah. Well, Jason, I am going to absolutely stomp on your transition and quickly mention last night was our Super Patron Hangout, and I wanted to quickly thank all the wonderful people from around the world that joined us for that. If you are a Super Patron, it is up on the Super Patron feed, and you can watch the recorded session. But if you'd like to join us next time, we do it once a month, and it's only for Super Patrons, and it happens in the evening. So if we had a lot of Australians join us because it was right in the middle of their morning, which was a nice, easy time to join. So be sure and join us on the Super Patron level for that. If you're interested, you can go to paidsearchpodcast.com and just click the link for the Patreon there. And you can also enjoy, to give you a quick idea about what kind of stuff people are getting at the Super Patron level, I do weekly videos where I demo things, and I talk about things like how to build a display campaign, how to communicate with your clients. I show hidden data inside of Google Ads using segments. I talk about how to do faster campaign management. I talk about some strategies like getting really cheap CPC strategies. These are all things I use for my clients, real life examples. And it's not just a video of my face, although you do get to see my face. It's the screen. You get to see the Google Ads interface, and I show you, I demo it in Google Ads. So be sure and check those out. I think many of you will like those.
And Chris, you mentioned the Hangout call. You mentioned all these videos. If someone signs up for Super Patron today, listening to the show today on Patreon, they get access to those. Am I right?
That's right. You get access. We are now opening up everything to every video, every after show, every hangout that's ever been recorded. You have access to all of it, all for the same price. So, yeah, it's a huge value. If you are not already on it, you can jump in. So now let's go to smart campaigns. See, the thing about smart campaigns, I named it this, and some people are like, "Oh, this is a strategy Chris is talking about." Like, I want to build a smart campaign. No, there literally are such things as smart campaigns, and it's not it's not just a campaign that you've created smartly or you've done a smart thing with. It's essentially 100% like to the max. If Tesla built a campaign in Google Ads, this is what they would do. Like, it's a push button kind of thing. You push it and it goes. It drives itself.
How many times have you been inside a Tesla?
Twice. 3 times. 3 times.
Okay.
What about you? How many times have you been? I have driven in one multiple times.
I've never been in one. I was going for a 0 there.
There
It
we
would have
go.
been a nice comedic effect if you were spouting off about this is what a Tesla's like, and you've never been in a Tesla. So that's all right.
My family member.
You don't hit those home runs if you don't swing.
Yeah,
so
there we
swing
go.
and miss.
Well, don't you dare edit that out.
Effect,
You keep those swings and misses in here, Jason. Rachel, do not cut this. All right.
Go ahead.
So it sounds really good. And for some people, it sounds like an absolute nightmare. But what I want to talk about are 3 different types of smart campaigns, my experience with them, the advantages and disadvantages of each. So let's start with the one I use the most, smart search campaigns. Okay?
Hey, by the way, Chris, these are just, you just basically take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and tell Google, these are the kinds of keywords I would like, the themes. This is my website. This is where I want my ads to run. Press start, and then Google handles everything. And let me ask you, is it everything on the setup and the management going forward? Are there any options? Like, I'm pretty sure there's no options like, oh, I don't want this keyword, I don't want that search term. They do everything. I don't want this bid, I don't want that bid.
Right.
They do everything.
Yeah, okay, so that's the first pro. That's the first advantage. The first advantage is it's super easy to manage. What you can do is you can go in and look at your search terms. You actually do get to see search terms in a smart campaign, and you can turn off. You don't add negative keywords. You just say, don't show for this search term anymore. There's a little toggle switch, and you can say, turn that off. So it's effectively like adding a negative keyword, but they kind of dumbed it down to just say, oh, turn that off, turn this off. So you can customize your traffic, and I think that's a great thing. I think it's kind of cool that they even give that type of transparency to even show you that, because, showing search term data, that's a pretty big deal. I mean, there's a lot of people that run standard search campaigns and don't look at their search term data, and yet it's right on the screen with with smart search campaigns. So you get to see it, and you can filter it to a degree. So really easy to manage. Definitely the very first advantage that I like about smart search campaigns.
Okay, Chris. Well, that's interesting to hear. My background in search campaigns is no background, or smart campaigns is no background. I've always said, well, I'm smarter than everyone,
Sure,
including the machine. So why would I sign up for a smart campaign? So it's interesting and good to hear that you actually do get search term data. I'm just so curious about this topic. What do you see when you see those search terms in your experience? Is it like a expert Chris Schaefer managed campaign that isn't doing a broad strategy on purpose, or is it like what you would kind of expect, what I would expect from a auto applied kind of campaign? What are you seeing on that search terms report?
It's so obvious that when trash goes into the campaign, trash comes out. So if you have a really confusing type of website, that's the triggers that Google uses to decide what you're going to show up on, because it's, it takes the information that it sees, the theme, the topic, the ideas, the keywords, whatever triggers it sees on your website, it takes that and then gets those searches, right? So if you have a horrible website, or you have something that, nobody's ever heard of and nobody's actually searching for, you're going to get the wrong kind of thing. Like if you sell some widget that nobody's looking for, but it's kind of close to widget A and widget C, but it's actually widget B. Nobody searches for widget B. They just know about A and C. you're going to get awful stuff because nobody's searching for it and Google doesn't know what it is. So that's a big.
Do you see brand and competitor come in a lot?
Brand, definitely. Competitor, not so much.
Okay.
Definitely brand.
Okay. Interesting.
Definitely brand.
Okay. Interesting. And your next benefit that you like about smart search campaigns is that some industries work very well. I've had feedback from not a moving client of mine, but one of their buddies. And of course, this is great.
My buddy does it. Oh,
great information.
Yeah.
My buddy who runs another company does a smart campaign, and he's saying the cost per conversion is $20.
Right.
Moving clicks are like $15.
Well, hire him. Hire him then.
yeah. Tell him to start an agency, and much easier business. And my suspicion was that either the search terms were from like competitors, and they happen to do competitors well, or from brand, and that kind of makes sense that you're telling me you've seen brand come in, and it's hard to explain that to a client, but I'll stop there. So I've heard it work well for a mover. What other industries are you hearing out there where it works well, and does it work well for everybody, or just some kind of industries in your experience?
I like it really good for service industries. I'm thinking of one right now, like these types of vehicle types of things. You have oil change, very common consumer friendly types of stuff is great. You need help with your title. You need to, get your title changed over. You need to get an oil change. Car industry type of stuff, it's very common, lots of searches, lots of people understand it. Google understands it, and it works great. So, that's an example of industries that work well. Something that doesn't work well, I don't really like it so much for B2B. Highly technical types of stuff, I don't like it so much for things like that. If you find that, if someone asks you, what do you do? What does your business do? And you need to be like, okay, so this and this, well, we're right in between that and that. If you have to explain it that way and explain it any more than just a couple, a very short 1-sentence phrase, it's just probably not for you. That's about the best way I can explain it because it's automated. It's smart to a point.
That makes sense. I think my impression of it is a big factor is the sales time or sales cycle, whatever you want to call it, for a new customer. So if someone is looking for a mover, or someone's looking for car repair or an oil change, or the carpet cleaning, because that's a fun one to run.
There you go.
People do a search in Google. They find one of the few companies in town that offers that service, that will answer the phone and all that kind of stuff. They get someone on the phone and they get a quote.
Yep.
And Google Ads worked, and the smart campaign worked. But if you sell custom frames for commercial lobbies or something like that for art, you might have trouble getting someone to do a search, number one, showing up on the right searches, and then the sales cycle is longer. Maybe you have to go out to the location, stuff like that. So that's the way I would be thinking about it. If you get calls and give people quotes and it's the first time they ever talk to you, I could see smart campaign going well. If you're more complex, B2B, longer sales cycle, my impression is that you might not get the best results from that. It would be worth the extra effort to, of course, manage a regular campaign. So those are the good, Chris. Easy to manage because you don't really. Easy to set up, and that some industries it can work very well. There's one more.
Yeah, this one's unique.
I want you to whisper a compliment to me.
That is not what
I
whisper.
want you to give me a compliment.
That's not what
I want you to give me a compliment.
Can't just
and
read
I'll give
the
you
notes.
a compliment, and we're gonna whisper to each other. Okay?
You have a great personality.
No, I want you to whisper. I don't want to hear the back of that throat. I don't want to hear that deep bass. I want to hear something up in the mouth.
Okay.
I want to hear a whisper.
You have a great personality. I'm waiting. You. What a specific. That's oddly specific. Okay, thank you. Well, what Jason is very poorly trying to transition us into is the discussion of the advantage of smart search campaigns, that it does call whisper. So if someone calls you from the ad, it will say, "This is a call from Google Ads," and then it connects you. So this is
can I just
pretty cool.
Ask Google, can we please get that on the campaigns that I run and charge clients for? Because if they got that, just that messaging every time I got them a call, they would love me so much more. And it would just, even if it was, say we got one call in the last 3 days, they would remember that call and it would seem like more than it is. And if you can do it for the smart campaigns, you can do it for everything. How cool would that be? And not just for me, but for Google. People would realize, like, oh man, look at all these calls I'm getting from Google Ads, even if it's not a smart campaign.
Or even the other side.
They should turn this option on.
Like, what if every time it whispered, "This is a call from Google Ads," and they knew, okay, every time I getting a call from Google Ads, it's for this one thing, and I don't like that. Can you focus on this? They would actually know what they're getting, and it could be good or bad. And
all right, you want to put money into machine learning, money into AI, blah blah blah. You want to separate yourself from the other search engines that people are advertising out there?
Yes, they do.
Really differentiate yourself?
Yes, they do.
Come on now. Give us a call whisper. This is a call from Google Ads. And this is the keyword that triggered the call.
And
I mean, you could go one better, the search term, but that's asking too much.
I got something else. Stay on the line after the call and rate the call quality.
Oh,
can you imagine? 1 to 5. One is
data,
bad.
All that
oh
data.
My goodness. Good quality, bad quality.
Oh man.
Are you listening? Oh, they don't listen. They're not.
Come on.
They're not listening.
They should. That's a great idea.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's so much instant feedback to the machine. I'm just watching like the clothes and all my material things just evaporate in front of my eyes because I'll be worthless if stuff like this actually happens. I mean, that's some actual smart campaigns right there, and there's no need for a guy like me.
That's not true.
We just gave that idea, so go do it. Do it. How cool is that?
Yeah. Yeah. We're literally giving away ideas that could make us a little less valuable, but that's not true. It's still not true. It's not actually true.
So that's the positive. Oh, call whisper. By the way, that call whisper thing is a real thing. Like people, when sometimes we run a new campaign after someone's run a smart campaign and we do better. It's a great campaign, blah, blah, blah. They miss that call whisper and it makes them second guess the new campaign because they're like, I'm not hearing that anymore.
I'm not getting any. Yeah, they think they're not getting calls anymore.
Yeah.
Because they don't hear the whisper. Yeah. They're like, I'm not getting.
That's a cool feature.
Yep. Absolutely.
Cool feature. Okay, so those are the positives, Chris. What are some of the possibly the negatives about smart search campaigns?
We've already hit it, kind of hinted at it already, but no way to optimize it, right? Other than like
that. Hey, by the way, that's a benefit for a lot of people.
That's true. That's a benefit and a disadvantage. Yeah, that's true. That's good and bad, but no.
I mean, that could actually help. Some of the people I've been talking to lately, Chris.
I got an idea.
That could really help them.
We're only going to advertise in these zip codes at 2 a.m. because that's when they're searching. Oh, gosh. Go to bed. No way to optimize. And then number 2, the data can be deceiving. And I already hinted at how that would happen, but essentially it's because you can be getting a bunch of brand searches. Someone's searching for Joe's car shop, Joe's transmission repair, and you're getting all these quote unquote conversions in the smart campaign. And if you actually dug in and looked at your search terms, you realize 50% of the calls are just people looking up your name and then clicking, and you're paying for that brand search. So that's deceiving. It can certainly be fixed, but if you don't manage it and you don't look at it, you just turn it on, you wouldn't realize that's what you're spending money on.
Chris, before we jump into shopping, for people like myself out there, other professionals, super patrons, if people have a hesitancy to run a smart campaign because you kind of feel like, okay, if it's smart, I know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. It sounds to me like a really cool, okay, I'm stumbling onto something here, Chris. People are always asking us, what should my cost per click be, blah, blah, blah. How do I start? What should my keywords be? This sounds like a really good idea to just start in the first month.
Yeah.
Just to see what your ballpark cost per click is, just to see what kind of keywords people are searching for out there. I can see it as an idea generation machine for professionals.
That's something that we've talked about a lot on this show, and I absolutely agree. That's something that I feel is highly missed whenever someone builds a super targeted, really well-constructed campaign. It's like, well, are you testing the stuff that you didn't think of? And this is a great way to kind of automate ideas you hadn't thought of. There's a lot of these. There's a lot of these things that that are kind of buried in Google Ads. And this is one example. I think I totally agree. I think there's a lot of potential to just try it out.
Okay, so smart shopping campaigns, easy to manage. Again.
Yep.
What's going
That's
on?
Always
what do you have to do with a smart shopping campaign?
That's always the first item on these smart ones, because it's like, you don't have to manage it, So that's great. Now I have to say, in order to get a smart shopping campaign set up, you still have to have your merchant center. It's not like hey, I created a Spotify and I just hit go on Google Ads. No, wait, Spotify. I said Spotify. Shopify. Sorry. I created a Shopify, account, and now I just have a Google Ads shopping campaign running. No, you still have to get all the preliminary stuff set up with the data feed and all that stuff. But once you turn it on, it just runs. And there's a lot of details in a standard shopping campaign that can be done poorly. And sometimes, just like you said, just not having your hands in it can actually be a benefit just because you can't do it.
Shopping campaigns are like lasagna. I know it gets said a lot, but I'm just going to go with that stereotype again. Shopping campaigns are like lasagna. Okay. So you can cook a lasagna from scratch. It can be really good, but there's a lot of ways to mess up a lasagna, a lot of layers, versus getting a out of the freezer lasagna. Those are pretty good these days. You just put in the oven, bake it. Can't go wrong. Hard to mess it up. That's what a smart shopping campaign sounds like.
I like that.
The lasagna comparison. I know it's dated. I know it's been used a lot, but shopping campaigns are like lasagna. Yeah, we all know that. Head to head, it can outperform standard shopping campaigns. What do you mean by this, Chris?
Okay, so you have a standard shopping campaign which has all the bells and whistles, has all the toggle switches, all the little knobs, and you can just change everything around, has bidding options, you can set up different layers and device strategies and ad schedule and targeting, has all the stuff. I have run standard shopping campaigns side by side to my best ability, standard shopping campaign, and then I set up a smart, and that smart smacks me in the face, ties me up, and throws me on the ground and just no mercy. I mean, I'm like, I have nothing I can do can beat the performance of this of the smart shopping campaign, and it's really surprising because I don't know what's happening. I can't look under the hood and I can't see what's happening. That's so. What's frustrating? So it's a good thing, but you're hearing a Google Ads manager talk about it. So I'm frustrated, but you're winning, so that's good. But you're making money. I'm frustrated. And I'm frustrated because I can't see what is causing so much success, but it's success. So that's great. It's kind of magical.
Now, I've got some questions about smart campaigns that we're going to get into after your read here, Chris. I have questions like, who do you recommend these for? What happens when it goes good or bad? Like, can that be frustrating? And then another question I have, which I've done this in the past actually, have you ever run these alongside a search campaign at the same time? And what would be some reasons you would do that? And then I think in Patreon, maybe I have some questions about display smart campaigns, and we could move that over there. So I've got some questions to wrap us up here, but before that, I'll let you tell us about Opteo.
Opteo is the Google Ads management software for the stars. And when I say stars, I mean me and Jason. We like Opteo. They have been a sponsor of this show for a long time. We are brought to you by Opteo. I have seen Jason's tattoo of Opteo, and that's how devoted he is. Guys, it's a great tool. It's going to get you more out of Google Ads than you thought possible because there's always things you hadn't thought of. You approach it in a certain strategy and then it says, hey, did you notice this? that notice factor is huge, and it's really helpful for them to point out things you had not thought of, like the distribution of the keyword spend, or big differences in device ROAS or conversion rates or return on ad spend, stuff like that. All kinds of stuff that they're going to notice because it's a smart system. We're talking about smart stuff. You want to be smart, try it out, opteo.com/PSP2 to try out Opteo for free.
So, Chris, in Patreon, we're going to talk about smart display campaigns because I'm a lover of display, and I'll be interested to see what those smart display campaigns can offer us. Before we jump over there, just to close out these kind of search-focused smart campaigns, search and shopping, if someone is in a professional organization or has a friend in the same business as them, and the friend goes, oh yeah, I've been doing Google Ads and we're getting tons of leads and it's helping our company, you should do it too. Can you go wrong as a new person to Google Ads, like brand new, doing a smart campaign? Isn't that like, would you say that's who this is best for?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I don't see how you can go wrong if you're new to Google Ads starting this way. As opposed to this, Chris, as opposed to doing it halfway. Like, what I don't like is the idea of someone getting into Google Ads, getting a keyword list going. Who knows what? That would look
the
like.
keyword
getting
list
ads going. Who knows what those would look like? All the settings, the location stuff, and then hitting like automated bids and doing like an automated halfway. I kind of like the idea. If you don't know what you're doing, just totally hand it over.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential failures between start and finish of building a standard Google Ads search campaign. So yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think these are built for that and they work well. And the last two things I want to mention before we move on is the bad part, the disadvantages of a smart shopping campaign. And this is very different than the other one. There's no search terms to look at. Like I don't understand why it's not included. And if it is, I've looked with many different accounts and clients. And
have you looked where in the section that says search terms?
Yeah, it's not there.
Okay, just making sure. Just making sure.
It's so I don't understand.
Where did you last put the thing you lost?
And I imagine the reason
if I knew that,
they did it,
I wouldn't be lost.
Is because like it doesn't work the same way. I'm not sure. I don't understand why we can't block certain things. There's no negative keywords, and it kind of blows my mind. Like, what if you're getting a whole bunch of brand stuff and you don't want it? You can't even see it. You can't see what's happening. So I don't know. That kind of drives me crazy. And then last is, there's absolutely no bid management at all. Now, that's true for everything, but let me explain why that's important for shopping. You're selling a $5,000 dress, and you're also selling a $40 belt. Google's spending 40% of your spend on that belt and 10% of your spend on that dress. So you're putting your ads out there a whole lot more for that belt compared to the dress, but you have a whole lot more return. You could get a whole lot of traffic and sell one dress, boom, much more profitable than that belt. That's what concerns me about shopping is the distribution of spend. You can't necessarily control that in the way that you can a standard shopping campaign because, some things have priority over others, and Google treats it indiscriminately as far as, what they're going to be getting the clicks on. And that bothers me. I don't like that. So those are the disadvantages for shopping. And with that, go try it.
Yeah, you can't get hurt. Chris, I'm really intrigued by these. I mean, as a business model, I like the idea of, if you're brand new to Google Ads, if you're running someone's campaign for the first time, press smart.
Yeah.
You can see what happens and then use that to build your regular search campaign and go from there. I like that on paper. We'll kind of see how that works out over time. But man, if they got one thing right about these smart campaigns,
it's the ease of the setup.
It's the branding. It's the way your mind thinks about it. It's like, because what it does, it allows your mind to create a successful campaign before they actually do it for you. So what happens when I hear smart search campaign, I think about what a perfect search campaign would be for my whatever advertiser I'm working with. And then I go, oh yeah, that would be a smart, perfect one. So I bet this will do that. And of course, I bet it doesn't work out that way, but it's such a great branding because I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I do this? So I'm going to be trying this out a lot more. I'm intrigued by the mystery, and I want to get some history with it. So with that said, we're going to jump into Patreon, $8 a month, and we will see you on the other side.